is the same, and now we go to the real world. They're not users, they are losers. We don't listen to them if the system is up and running and they start complaining. We call it a user brain damage because they don't read the fucking manual and so. Well, they're not ITers, they don't help them. And they're getting more and more important. And the real VIPs. No people know anything, and they know everything about IT. 4 or 5 years ago, well, you were happy if you could go on the internet from your hotel room. If you were in China as a manager, now you want to see all the data from the CRM system, but you have to be protected and you have security. So users get to know more and more and more. And if you don't give them what they need, they start buying it themselves. The vigilantes, they know what to do. And this is something that the IT department and IT has to learn in how to cope with a new generation of users. Those, like your age, go work for a large corporation, just want to do their work. If they're not allowed to do document sharing, because everything has to be done in the office, they use a Hotmail account and they send all the documents away. There's so many collaboration tools, Web 2.0 application they're going to use, not because they want to fuck the IT department, no, because they just want to do their work.
So we do a lot of research on these kind of things, and what we see is that the IT workspace that you get as an employee, not just as an IT specialist, one of the most important things is your workplace. So if your workplace does not work, you get a really bad perception of your employer. So you will leave the company eventually. And in the Netherlands, each employee that needs to stay at the company because there's a shortage of talent. And the same thing will go on in Romania. If Cor wants to know that all the people in this room will stay, then you have to take care that your systems will be up and running, and if there's a problem, that it will be fixed soon. So these guys down in the basement traditionally are really important to keep morale up. So if you don't invest in a good help desk, it saves you some money on the short term, but on the long term, your employees just leave. So these kind of people are really important. So they're not users, they are your employees, and you should support them.
Same as someone calls in a large organization and said, I have a problem with my system. So what is it? Is it your computer, or is it your SAP system, or is it mail? Well, I don't know, it just doesn't work. Well, we're just from infrastructure, yes. So call the other department. Which department? SAP. What SAP? Do you have the number? No, I don't have the number. Bing. This is the way actually users are treated in large organizations. And it doesn't work anymore. So having a service desk is also extremely important to know a lot about the users. Users have great ideas. Sometimes, well, I don't like this user interface. It's okay, learn and make sure that all the information you get from your service desk, it gets to your developers, and it will also be discussed. Users are extremely important to innovate and have new releases planned. It's called snafu. Situation normal, all fucked up. It's a general term from the US Army. If things are going wrong and bad, and service is bad, but everyone accepts it. You know those companies? You have like a lot. This is Heathrow Terminal 5. If you ever fly to London, don't go to Heathrow Terminal 5. Your baggage will be lost. They start yelling at you. They don't help you. And the funny thing is, they think it's normal. And you all have to be careful. It's the same as if you work for an IT department. Yes, you work for an IT department. You think that's our customer. But people hate the IT department because your client, if Sweat's IT would give the users and the end customers a very bad feeling and bad service, they have a bad service attitude, well, you don't work for a winner, you work for a loser. And that's extremely important, you work for winners. The same as, for example, if suppose IT, Sweats is run by, has a new CIO. It's an asshole, for example. And this new CIO starts, nobody likes him, so he will be changed again and changed again and changed again. And then someone has new friends, and so it's bad for your relationship. So you have to make sure that the CIO is extremely successful and well perceived. And you will notice, if you go on a visit to such a company, the CIO will pick you up at the desk, and some people talk to him, that's okay. If they don't talk to him, and you see the body language, everybody hates him, then you're in trouble. You don't want to work for him. Because IT is so mission critical, you know, you get fish soup out of this. It's the same as IT is so important. If you do one thing wrong, the fish will die. I created this with my kids, so.
And we had nice fish soup.
between an IT department and their business. So you work for the IT department, and this IT department works for the business, and the business works for the customer. So you have a relationship, and well, we created something called enterprises. But 200, 300 years ago, there wasn't a real enterprise, only one organization called the VOC in the Netherlands. But we are in a relationship for a very, very long time. So relationships are personal. Because the first relationship you had was with your mother and your father. And after a while, you choose your own partner and you got married. So who's married? Who's still married? Not divorced? That's only, there was a guy, a mathematician, that's called John Gottman in the US, and he said, I want to figure out how relationships work in business but also in private, because in his opinion that you're not able to think differently about business relationship than personal relationship. It's almost the same. So what's the most important emotion? So this guy, a mathematician, created an experiment with a formula, and he can predict with a 95% success rate if you're going to divorce or not. That's very good in a country of 50% of all Americans get divorced. He doesn't tell you, but he has an experience with more than 10,000 people, and he started in the 80s already. And there are a lot of emotions. Women have different emotions than men, all know that. But there is one emotion that for both man and female in every relationship, negative emotion is so important. It's called contempt, in Dutch minachting. So what's the Romanian word for contempt? For example, I think I'm better than you. I don't know why, but I'm better than you. That's called the level between, and that's distrust. So it's extreme. If this happens in a relationship, if you think about, if the business thinks about that's fucking IT department, and those IT departments are thinking about those assholes in Romania, then you have contempt. And this is you breathe contempt. You send emails, you send messages, your non-verbal communication. We are not able to hide this. No one able is to hide it. At the end, everybody knows. You start rolling with your eyes. You do that. You can't help that. And this is contempt. So this is so important in business relationship, not only for IT department with the businesses, but also how do you relate with customers. If the customer is just a purchasing department and they don't give nothing, they don't care about you, and you don't care about him, you don't have a long-term relationship. So this is so extremely important, especially for project managers. If they notice contempt, it's easy. You have to say, okay, all alarm bells have to go off. It's just psychology of relationship with customers. And now we know a lot of companies in the outsourcing industry, and they talk within their internal, they say, those fucking clients, those bastards, we're going to screw them. This is what they actually tell. How do you think those companies are listed in our benchmark? They're at the bottom.
Do you know what is causing this?
You don't talk each other's language, and you have different KPIs. For example,
Yeah, but these are the facts. Which are the causes?
the causes is that they start in a partnership. For example, I start outsourcing as a company because I have to lower my IT costs. I have to lower my total cost of ownership. But I do outsourcing business with you, and you like to increase your turnover. I don't like to shrink your business. So we have different interests already. We call it a partnership. So I have to lower my IT budget, and you want to increase your turnover. So there's a different set of KPIs. We're not collaborating. They're not collaborative KPIs.
Okay, but that means the set of rules that we that applied when we started the business are not available anymore. So I have to change them.
Yes, and that's very difficult with a contract like this.
It's also because of the tradition, for example, of software development. So we assume that at the start of a project you can put the specifications in concrete, and you say if you ask this, you will get exactly what you asked for. But in real life, it's not possible, because we have such a dynamic life that immediately, if you sign off the specifications, the world changes, so the software needs to change. But we did adapt really to that situation. So a lot of companies, they just start to develop new software,